This is the main Christchurch memorial for those who died in the New Zealand mosque attacks. We're near the hospital where many are still fighting for their lives, not far from the mosques where others lost them. Night and day, people bringing flowers and notes here, uniformly saying, this is not New Zealand.
He was killing children. They weren't caught in the fire. He was killing them.
Tonight from Christchurch, the voices of those who survived the terror attacks, the stories of those who did not.
I feel guilty and I feel sad.
Also tonight, a CBC News exclusive. Jason Kenney under fire over his campaign to win the leadership of Alberta's United Conservative Party.
And as the Junos honor Canadian music, we sit down with the man behind some of its biggest hits.
I will do whatever it takes to get the best out of the singer.
The Sunday interview with David Foster. This is The National.
Today, New Zealanders are still, of course, grieving for the 50 people killed in those brutal attacks on the mosques that were motivated by hate. But they are also resolved that they won't be divided and that the deadly violence unleashed in those mosques will not happen again. Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern signed a book of condolence earlier today. We grieve together, we are one, they are us, she wrote. And channeling that grief into action, she continues to push for tougher gun control. All this while the investigation into the attack presses on. In Australia this morning, counterterrorism officers searched the homes of the gunman's mother and sister. Tonight, his family's message of apology and the police who took him down. But we begin with more on the story of the victims, those who died, those who fought back, those who just managed to get out. It is really hard to imagine that the terror people felt when the gunman burst into those mosques, but as Briar Stewart tells us, some overcame their fears to try to save others.
On a Monday morning, people are trying to get back into a routine. But this is very much a country in mourning, struggling to deal with something so many still can't comprehend.
I'm Muslim myself, so I feel like I'm part of the community, and I feel guilty and I feel sad.
Eva Angeli immigrated to New Zealand from Indonesia. She doesn't know any of the victims from the mosque, but that doesn't matter. The sudden, savage loss is still painful.
I can't imagine what it must have been like during Friday prayers. And just someone just barging in and because it's such a peaceful time.
That peace violently shattered, but it could have been even worse if it wasn't for Abdul Aziz.
Allah saved me and 4 more kids was there.
It seems the father of 4 can't go anywhere in Christchurch without being stopped and called a hero. As the shooting was underway at the second mosque, Aziz found himself face to face with the gunman outside. As the shooter made his way back into the mosque, Aziz grabbed a shotgun, which was lying discarded beside a dead body.
I had the shotgun in my hand, and when he saw me, he just dropped the gun and just ran away towards his car. I'm not sure if he was finished run out of bullets or what, or he got scared or what. He just ran towards his car and I chased him.
The gunman drove off and a short time later was apprehended by police. But Aziz can't shake the memories of what he saw when he walked back into the mosque.
We cannot sleep for a couple of days. The last 2 days we didn't have enough sleep because each time we close our eyes, we see all dead body around us.
Among the 50 victims killed, a teenager, a grandfather, and 47-year-old Husna Ahmed. She was Fareed's wife.
I don't recall any moment that we were not happy. She was a best friend.
He says Husna helped lead a group of women and children to safety. She went back into the mosque to try and save her husband, only to be shot in the back and killed.
She was exactly doing what she was, saving other people, caring for other people, showing love to other people.
And that's how so many have resolved to get through this.
We must console each other.
At this church service, worshippers gathered to pray and sing New Zealand's national anthem. Others took a quieter moment to reflect and to grieve, as so many others are across this country.
And so, Briar, I suppose the next step for these families, obviously, is the funerals.
Well, that's right. And the bodies, the first of them anyway, were started to release last night. The officials expect to have them all released by Wednesday. But there is a real sense of urgency in all of this, and that's because in the Islamic tradition, they want to bury the bodies within 24 hours, and obviously more time has passed than that. The other big challenge here is that there are 2 mosques in this community, and they are now both crime scenes. So the question becomes just where do you have the funerals? And speaking with people today, I understand that some of the Muslim associations are actually in talks with some of the Maori groups about using some of their facilities. And there's also been volunteers that have flew in from Australia, from the Muslim associations there, to prepare the bodies and prepare the graves for the funerals, because they don't want to have the people here that are already dealing with so much grief have to deal with that.
So traumatized already. There's so much hard stuff ahead.
Very much.
Briar, thank you very much. We now want to introduce you to one of the survivors of the attack on the Al Noor Mosque. He talks about what happened and how it changed him. The Al Noor Mosque parking lot was full on Friday, and it still is, because stuck there are the cars of the dead, the injured, and the survivors. Adrian Wright's car is there. He's okay, but still looking at all the faces of his friends who are gone.
This brother here, he has a newborn son.
Wright was sitting up close by the Imam Friday, just as he was starting the khutbah, or the sermon. Chillingly, it was about inclusivity, community togetherness.
He didn't get too far into it before the terrorists started to attack. When the first shot went off and the Imam paused, it was dead silent. When the other shots went off and people started screaming, that's when noise erupted in the masjid. Just a flurry of gunshots started coming through, and I was seeing it hit the ceiling, hit the walls, hit people. I turned and I got up. I ran through this.
A window to his left had been broken. He ran through it, out the back parking lot, over a wall. Wright is a father of an 8-week-old son, but he's also a merchant marine, has navigation and paramilitary training. Those instincts, he says, saved him. He and others ran through the neighborhoods, the gunshots still coming. Only when they stopped did he start to walk back to the mosque and into so much death.
I looked down into the car park. There were just dead bodies on the floor. And then there were dead bodies along the sidewalk. And then there were kids, children. He was killing children. You understand? I know. 4, 3, 5. They weren't caught in the fire. He was killing them.
And those faces again. He started seeing the bodies of people he'd been smiling with minutes earlier, like this little one, Mo'an, who did not survive.
His father's name is Adrian. He picked him up off the ground.
There's Wright in that photo, still stunned. In that moment, he says, he'd been approached by the mother of this young man, Saeed Milne. That's her in the picture.
She said, "Have you seen my son?" And I looked at the picture and I hoped I could tell her yes. You understand? I hope I really wanted to be able to say, yes, I've seen him, he's okay. But the fact is I hadn't seen him. And with each subsequent person that she would ask, you could see her spirit just sink.
Saeed Milne did not survive.
It's hard, it's really hard.
Processing this takes a toll, but oddly, Wright says he had to do something hard. Watch that wretched video.
I don't encourage people to watch it. Please don't watch it. Any of you watching, please do not watch it. But I had to watch it. I was there. You understand what I mean? And I had to have some certainty. So when I watched the video and I saw him killing people, I knew for certain at least that, okay, this brother, he didn't make it.
He knows not everyone will understand that, nor will they understand he feels not an ounce of hate.
We all need to be compassionate towards each other. We all need to stand up for each other. Right. Whether you're atheist or Christian or Jew or Muslim or Buddhist or whatever you are, nobody should suffer and you be in agreement or you don't speak out against it.
Right.
Because you never know when it's your turn. It might be us now, but it could be you tomorrow.
Adrian Wright needs time, is so thankful he has it. So after those terrifying moments that Adrian Wright described, a citywide chase began for the man responsible, and we have now learned a little bit more about the police officers who took the gunman down. Turns out the two officers who actually work for small-town police departments outside Christchurch had just come from special training on dealing with armed suspects. When news of the shooter went out on the radio, they went looking for him. After spotting his car, they rammed it so he couldn't get away, and then they took him into custody. We're also hearing a bit from Brenton Tarrant's family this weekend. His uncle and his grandmother have apologized to his victims, and they seem to be trying to reconcile the young man they knew with the stranger they say he has become.
We're all gobsmacked. We don't know what to think. He's obviously not of sound mind, I don't think.
What he's done,
Yes.
it's just not right.
They said Tarrant struggled after losing his father to cancer in 2010. He went to Europe shortly after that.
It's only since he travelled overseas, I think, that boy has changed.
Police have since moved Tarrant's mother and sister to a safe house for their own protection. Both are assisting authorities in the investigation and have expressed remorse and support for the victims and their families. Police believe Tarrant planned the New Zealand attack for at least 2 years. He's scheduled to return to court on April the 5th. Local media reports that Tarrant plans to represent himself. The attacks here are really seen as the latest signs that white nationalism is on the rise. Now, that is a scourge that taints countries around the world, but one in particular stands out because of who is in charge. The CBC's Paul Hunter reports from Washington.
Praised by the accused killer in New Zealand as a symbol of white identity, say critics of Donald Trump there's a reason hate crimes are on the rise.
I can tell you this. His rhetoric doesn't help.
Democratic presidential hopeful Amy Klobuchar underlining this morning that when it comes to extremism, words matter, and Trump's words matter a lot.
At the very least, he is dividing people. They are using him as an excuse.
Whether he's labeling undocumented migrants invaders, Mexicans as rapists, or defending so-called white nationalists as very fine people, Trump's language is increasingly seen as part of the problem. On Friday, it was what he didn't say. To the question, does he see white nationalism as a rising threat around the world?
I don't really. I think it's a small group of people that have very, very serious problems.
In fact, various reports lately suggest the opposite, highlighting the rise in this country of racist groups, racist rallies, propaganda, and yes, violence. 50 murders last year in the U.S. were linked to right-wing extremism. That's the highest number of such killings since 1995, the year of the Oklahoma City bombing. Democrats today took Trump to task for the words he chooses to use.
That kind of language from the person who probably has the loudest microphone on the planet Earth is hurtful and dangerous, and it tends to incite violence.
White House Chief of Staff Mick Mulvaney today countered Trump is in fact trying to prevent such violence, describing Trump this way.
The president is not a white supremacist. I'm not sure how many times we have to say that.
For his part, Trump went to church across from the White House today, with undocumented migrants not far from his thoughts, later tweeting praise for those who've backed his push for a border wall. Paul Hunter, CBC News, Washington.
But there have also been some inspiring reactions to this tragedy, acts of kindness that really show the best faces of humanity. I'll be back a little later with those stories, but first, Andrew, you have more on the news of the day.
Yeah, indeed, Adrian. Yesterday, an Ontario family took off for Ethiopia on a difficult mission to find the remains of 6 relatives killed in that plane crash 1 week ago.
My wife is going to be helping me identifying the remains because she mentioned that she remembers what they were wearing on the day when they left. So probably she's gonna help me on that because I don't know what at that time what my mind state is gonna be.
They arrived in Addis Ababa and immediately set out on their grim task. Today, our senior correspondent Susan Ormiston met them at the crash site. And given that 157 people were very suddenly killed last Sunday, they are hardly alone in their suffering.
Possessed by grief, so many young lives gone, still wrenching heartbreak. 1 week after the pride of the country, an Ethiopian airliner plunged out of the sky, hearses brought caskets, many of them symbolic, with no bodies inside, just dirt. A mother wonders why her young son was killed. She'd take his place, but there are no answers yet. Only complicated feelings from other pilots, struggling for composure. This has been a long week of weeping here in the Ethiopian capital and elsewhere. Manant and Harol Vidia left Toronto yesterday on an overnight flight here. They haven't slept much in a week. 6 of his family were killed, his parents, a sister, a brother-in-law, and 2 nieces from Brampton. Refusing to rest, they board a bus in Addis Ababa for a 2-hour ride to the crash site, believing they will find something by coming here.
I'm still terrified. I cannot believe that my parents, my sister, my brother-in-law and my nieces are no longer with me.
His family was headed to Mombasa, Kenya, where his sister was born, on a family vacation, which tragically ended here. The Vidias pray for their souls. This pilgrimage, repeated hundreds of times this week, is a bit different each time, but the visits are getting shorter. After traveling 11,000 kilometers, the couple gets only 6 minutes here, barely time to register, before they're asked gently but firmly to leave.
So there's always like a bit of hope. But like coming to this site is getting closure to the fact that they are no longer in this world. So that is really getting difficult for me to accept.
An uncle plays a Hindu prayer song, which speaks to the body being gone, though the soul is not. But Vidia wants desperately to reclaim some of his family's bodies. It's his sole motivation.
Even though like the bodies are gonna be in the bad shape, we are willing to go there and get some closure, because it's always gonna be.
For now,
I collect soil right now because I don't have anything to collect. I can't find anything. I just took some soil that will help for our religious purpose.
They'll keep pressing, even though no one, it seems, has received any remains yet. Another part of acceptance. In the week since that crash, this place has changed dramatically. The circumference has gotten so much smaller. They've put up a wooden fence with barbed wire as it evolves into a more permanent memorial. We've seen hundreds of people come here, grieving in their own different ways. But the one thing that's universal is that desire to leave here with some family remains. And that's not going to happen soon. The airline says it could take up to 6 months to do DNA matching, which means they'll leave here with only a bag of dirt from this tragic place. Susan Ormiston, CBC News, near Bishoftu, Ethiopia.
Now, investigators have recovered all the relevant data from the black boxes of Flight 302. That's according to the Wall Street Journal, citing the Ethiopian transport minister. Now, one bit of info there. He says the data shows clear similarities with that other crash last October off the coast of Indonesia. That plane, also a Boeing 737 MAX 8. We're expecting a preliminary report within 30 days.
With just weeks left until a provincial election in Alberta is expected to be called, CBC News has uncovered some troubling information involving the province's United Conservative Party. Internal documents show that when Jason Kenney ran for party leader in 2017, his campaign collaborated with another candidate's team. The goal? To weaken Kenney's main rival. Carolyn Dunn has the details.
During this debate, Jason Kenney had his eye on the leadership of the UCP. Former Wild Rose leader Brian Jean was his closest political rival. CBC News has obtained documents showing the campaign team of this man, Jeff Callaway, was working with Kenney's team to undermine Jean's leadership bid. A cache of documents leaked to the CBC show senior Kenney campaign staffers routinely contacted Callaway staffers. They offered strategic directives, speeches, and opposition research for Callaway to attack Brian Jean. All the while, Callaway planned to drop out of the race and throw his support behind Kenney. Former Callaway staffer Cameron Davies says he heard about the plan from an Alberta MLA who was Kenney's original choice to be the kamikaze candidate.
in which he explained that he had had several dinner conversations with Jason Kenney, in which Jason Kenney had asked him to run a dark horse style campaign.
I haven't seen the type of collusion and coordination where the front runner finds another candidate, recruits them, staffs them, writes their speeches for them.
With an election call looming, Premier Rachel Notley suddenly has some new political ammo.
And Mr. Kenney owes Albertans a full accounting, not just empty denials, especially given that this morning we learned that these denials were actually calm, cool, confident lies.
Kenney's party insists campaigns routinely communicate with each other and it broke no rules. And this political drama isn't over yet. Alberta's election commissioner is investigating allegations of illegal political donations related to the Callaway campaign and has passed on information to the RCMP. Carolyn Dunn, CBC News, Calgary.
Back to this city now, where the federal government will try and turn the page on the SNC-Lavalin affair this week, in part with some help from their last budget before the election. It will be tabled Tuesday, the same day the Justice Committee will meet again to discuss whether Jody Wilson-Raybould should return to testify. The government hoping the message of the day will be their pre-electoral spending plan. David Cochran joins me now from Ottawa. David, what have you learned about what will be in the budget?
Yeah, Rosie, there are 4 things we can tell you tonight about Tuesday's budget, and the first is that there's going to be a big promise on boosting high-speed internet access across the country. What we've learned is that the budget will include a 10-year plan to give all Canadians access to high-speed internet by 2030. There's going to be new federal money for this, but they're also going to rely on partnership with the private sector to make it happen, and a big goal here is to close the urban-rural divide, to make it easier for Canadians who live outside of major urban centers to participate in the modern economy, and boosting internet speeds is a key component in that. Second, the budget will have a series of measures to help promote lifelong learning and adult training. Among other things, Ottawa is going to establish personalized accounts funded by the government to help Canadians pay for retraining and skills. Third, Bill Morneau, the finance minister, wants to make it easier for young people to buy a house. Millennials in particular complain about this. What I'm told is that there will be targeted measures in the budget to make home ownership more affordable for first-time buyers. And finally, Rosie, a lower than projected deficit this year. It was projected to be $18.1 billion, but I'm told Bill Morneau is going to be able to beat that. The economy has been flat the last few quarters, but the job market has been strong, record levels of employment. There's been a surge in personal income tax revenue, and that's going to let Bill Morneau post a smaller deficit than expected.
Okay, before all of that, though, another cabinet shuffle tomorrow, David.
Yes, and a small one, which isn't surprising considering they're doing these once a month these days. But the indications I have tonight, Rosie, is that there's only going to be one minister involved in this. That's going to be a new president of the Treasury Board to replace Jane Philpott. The front runner, I'm told, is Joyce Murray, a Vancouver MP who's been a provincial cabinet minister and the parliamentary secretary to the Treasury Board for the last several years.
Okay, David, another busy week ahead. Thank you for this.
You're welcome.
And here's a quick look at some of the stories we're watching tonight. A fire at Toronto's Pearson International Airport is causing major travel problems this evening. Hundreds of people were evacuated from Terminal 1 after flames broke out, and all U.S.-bound flights from that terminal have been canceled. Now, the fire has been put out, but there is considerable smoke and water damage.
Astounding Andreescu.
And Canadian Bianca Andreescu wowed the crowd tonight in Indian Wells, California. The unseeded 18-year-old from Mississauga, Ontario, won her first Women's Tennis Association title in a match against Angelique Kerber of Germany.
Still ahead on The National, why some tire warranties aren't what they say. Our Go Public team will explain.
Plus, on Canada's biggest night in music, legendary producer David Foster is our Sunday interview.
And later, fighting hate with kindness, how strangers are coming together to give back to Christchurch.
Just to help out all the people that, the families, I think, that are going through such a hard time. Yeah. The kids in hospital.
Tires are expensive to replace, so it's important they last, and that's why most tire companies issue mileage warranties. But a BC man says those mileage claims don't always go the distance. Erica Johnson has more.
Gerald Renault takes pride in looking after his car. A few months ago, he took a close look at his tires.
And I'm going, there's no tread on these tires. So I thought this just isn't right.
So you only have about 30,000 clicks on here.
That's correct.
30,000 K on his tires. His mileage warranty was for 112,000. He submitted a claim, but the tire company, Continental Tires, rejected it.
They gave me nothing.
Continental pointed to tread wear measurements, differences of about 1 millimeter on each tire. In a statement, Continental said measurements showed uneven wear, suggesting improper operation or maintenance, and making the mileage warranty inapplicable. Continental's statement didn't specifically address why its customers' tires wore out at 30,000 kilometers instead of 112, but did say it's difficult to precisely predict tire mileage due to things like road conditions, vehicle maintenance, and driving habits.
I'm not a young kid that spins tires and drag races other vehicles and stuff. I just drive from my home to work and back.
This auto expert says mileage warranties offered by all the major tire manufacturers are just a marketing tool.
A tire warranty for mileage is primarily there to give you a warm, fuzzy glow when you buy your tires. It's not actually a reliable indicator of how long the tire will last.
He says tire companies create their own guidelines for mileage warranties, and that's a problem.
You need a third party to be doing the certification or to maintaining a standard. It would be better if everyone were playing by the same rules and the prediction then was reliable.
Canada's Tire Industry Association told Go Public that new rules are being developed in the U.S. and Canada will likely follow suit. In the end, Gerald Renault drove away with 50% off a new set of tires, but only because a manager at Canadian Tire said he felt badly that Continental's tire warranty fell flat. Erica Johnson, CBC News, Vancouver.
And up next on The National, he is behind some of the biggest hits in music. David Foster is our Sunday interview.
I have begged my whole life people to come and do my charity. It's an endless list of people that I have bothered to the point where they probably won't even take my call anymore.
Sometimes I feel like giving up, but I just can't.
That's Shawn Mendes performing for tonight's Juno Awards while on a world tour. In all, he's taking home 5 awards, including Best Artist, Album of the Year, and Single of the Year. Now, legendary composer and producer David Foster received a special award, though it was not for his work in music, impressive as it is. David Foster is a master of his trade. Celine Dion, Whitney Houston, Barbra Streisand, just 3 of the many superstars he's produced. At the age of 4, his mother discovered he had perfect pitch. At 16, he found himself backing rock and roll legend Chuck Berry.
All right, David Foster!
Foster has won Junos.
Yeah, thank you.
Grammys.
I just can't even believe that I'm up here at this point in my career. That was unbelievable.
And with a reputation as a proven hitmaker, he's won the respect of music royalty.
He's got one of the best ears in music.
This is my friend. I'm here for my friend.
Thank you. But for more than 30 years, charity has also been on his mind. In 1986, he created the David Foster Foundation to help the families of kids needing organ transplants.
Thank you, Ben.
And this weekend, in recognition of his charitable work, he was presented with the Junos Humanitarian Award.
Hey, Andrew.
Very nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, man.
Thanks for making the time.
Pleasure.
I met up with David Foster recently at the Glenn Gould Theatre right here in Toronto. So we're not actually allowed to play this piano, otherwise I'd have you...
You realize that Glenn Gould would want people to play his piano. You realize that, right? I think we need to talk to the people in charge here.
So the first thing I should say is congratulations. The Humanitarian Award at the Junos. It's a different award than perhaps you're used to getting, but how does it feel?
Well, it feels exactly like that, like very different. And it feels really good because we've worked really hard with my foundation over the last 33 years to grow it into something spectacular. And so now we're coast to coast to coast, And if you are a family that has a child that needs an organ transplant, we are going to help you with all your non-medical costs. And it's been life-saving for over 1,000 families now.
You really, to your credit, you really leveraged your connections to raise a heck of a lot of money. And I saw footage of a celebrity softball tournament, you know.
That's how we started, yeah.
It's a really good cause and nobody's doing anything like it. And David Foster's an old friend of mine.
He called me like 2 in the morning. He said, "You're either going to be there or I'll never talk to you again." And I mean, not just for those reasons, but I promised him I would, so I'm here.
Was it hard to get other celebrities, other musicians, other personalities on board?
I have begged my whole life people to come and do my charity. And it's not that they don't want to, but you know, famous people get asked every day to do charities. And you can't spend your life doing charities, otherwise you won't make a living doing what you do. So the list is endless, from Bocelli to Celine to Bublé to Anne Murray to Reba McEntire. It's an endless list of people that I have bothered to the point where they probably won't even take my call anymore. But I have no shame when it comes to my foundation.
We raised tonight $6.5 million. $3.2 million we raised tonight. $10.2 million.
So to come full circle, to get this Humanitarian Award at the Junos, at the bequest of Michael Bublé, by the way, it was he that sort of got the Junos thinking about it. It's kind of full circle for me, and it's going to be a great moment.
Speaking of bringing big names under the tent, so a year before the start of the foundation, 1985, Tears Are Not Enough. You know, raising money.
Are you just coincidentally asking me this? Because we were talking about that in the car.
Oh, really?
And I actually pulled it up, the clip of some of it, and I hadn't seen it in 20 years. And it was amazing to see a young Joni Mitchell and a young Neil Young.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Roll playback.
What did you think when you saw that?
Well, what I thought specifically was that I was an incredible taskmaster and control freak, is what I got out of watching myself on tape.
Together you and I.
Longer.
Together you and I.
Again.
Okay, well, this is exactly what I want to ask you about, because I was struck by how you could sit there and you could listen to a great performer really belt out the take of their life, and then you hit the button to talk to them, you say, yeah, that wasn't it.
Yeah, I know.
Let's do one more.
I know. And I noticed today, just in the car watching, I said, okay, this is take number 13. I made Neil Young sing it at least 13 times, one line. I mean, he must have wanted to kill me.
Come on, Neil, give it to me, baby.
Somehow our innocence is lost.
A little flat on innocence, but other than that, it was great. We'll go again. Huh?
One more time.
Somehow our...
That's my sound, man.
That's my sound. Like, in other words, I'm done with you.
but I mean, it does speak to a talent and a responsibility of yours, right? When it comes to coaxing out the very best performance you can get out of a musician, but then also managing what I suspect, maybe wrongly, are pretty big egos.
Yeah, I mean, including my own, right? Including my own ego. So it's, you know, my job, like your job today, is to try and get the best out of me, which means you will do anything, because you're good at your job, you will do anything to try and get the best out of me. My job is to get the best out of the singer. I will do whatever it takes to get the best out of the singer, but it doesn't involve only getting one take from them. That's not enough for me to work with. I have to have 8 takes, 10 takes, so that I can get the very best out of them and make a vocal that sounds like it was done in one take, but it actually wasn't.
But how do you do that without ticking them off?
Well, they hear the end result and they like it.
The line that'll always stick with me is, perfect, but one more.
I know, isn't that stupid? That was perfect. Can I just have one more? I mean, that's so insane. But I have this mantra of that good is the enemy of great. And I can literally be good in my sleep. I could make a record in my sleep and it would be good, but it won't be great. I try to be great.
If I...
Whitney Houston, what was it like working with her?
She was a laser beam. I like to say that when I did The Bodyguard, or her songs on The Bodyguard, it probably wasn't her greatest album ever. I mean, the stuff that came before that was amazing. But I know that I caught her at her finest moment, vocally. I caught her when she was peaking. And I, most days, got her at the end of it after she had already been filming for 10 days. And then she'd come to the studio late at night. And it was really tough on her. It was really hard on her. But she would just walk into the studio, rip her coat off, step up to the mic, and go like a racehorse. It was incredible. We had a great time together.
Celine Dion, when she came onto your radar and you first heard her sing, I mean, you were instrumental in bringing her to English audiences.
Yeah, I can't take any credit for discovering her because she was already a big star in Quebec, so. I initiated her coming to Los Angeles. I ended up doing her first album, working on her first album.
I'm loving every moment with you.
You are truly remarkable. Let me listen to it back.
I said, 3 things are going to happen to you, at least. 1, you're going to be known by your first name only. They won't even have to say your last name. 2, Barbra Streisand is going to know who you are because Barbra was her idol. And 3, Barbra Streisand's going to sing with you. And I fortunately was able to help make all 3 of those things happen.
When you think of her iconic songs, what are the ones, or the one that stands out to you?
I don't know if that's a setup question or not.
It is a little bit.
Is it?
It's a little bit.
Yeah. Tell me your favorite.
Okay, well, so My Heart Will Go On.
Okay, this interview's over.
No, please stay. But I mean, it is one of the songs that most people identify with her, right, from Titanic.
I know. So her and I have had so many hits together, from Because You Love Me, The Power of Love, All By Myself. That song, My Heart Will Go On, I just wasn't a fan of the song.
What did you like about it?
I just didn't like it. I thought it was a beautiful movie melody, but the song, I thought it was a melody that should never have lyrics to and never be sung.
Did you think it was going to be the hit that it ended up being?
No, I was asked to produce it. I said, I don't want to produce this song. I don't like it. Hey, when you're wrong, you got to be wrong big, right?
And then there's June, the Canadian tour.
Yeah, let's talk about the tour.
So, back to me. And after the love is gone.
I'm excited about it, because it's a way to, I'd show you if I was allowed to play that piano, but it's a way of, after so many years of making music, Andrew, and not really having that feel with the audience. So all the artists that I work with get to have that feeling after they leave me of performing those songs that we've worked on together and getting feedback from the audience. So in the last decade or so, I've started touring, and it's felt good. And we're going to do this in Canada. I think it's a perfect place to do this tour. I mean, I'm Canadian. I'm a huge flag waver. I mean, I love telling people I'm from Canada. I'm so proud to be from Canada. It's going to be fun.
It's been wonderful, David, to talk to you. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Andrew. Nice job, man.
And congrats.
And no notes. That's impressive.
I have notes sometimes. Up next, we go back to Christchurch with the simple ways people are coming together.
Today, vigils, prayers, and protests were held all over the world to mark the terrible violence here in Christchurch. All weekend, we've been seeing acts of mourning, of grief, but we wanted to step back and have a look at the acts of hope in the wake of the attack. Big and small, people finding ways to reach out, to connect, and to unite. David Common has that.
Curries and rice and a think, is it chocolate brownies?
While so many are struggling with how to respond, the sidelines were no place for these kids. They cooked and baked and brought it all to the hospital to help care for the families of the grievously injured.
It's unbelievable that it's happened in Christchurch. It's the last place on earth I'd think that would happen.
There is other help too on a larger scale. Already millions have been donated to help families. Government grants will fund funerals and compensate for the lost earnings of those murdered, perhaps for years to come.
And so I convey that message of love and support on behalf of New Zealand.
Along with all that compassion, a recognition of growing hatred for Muslims, for non-whites, and more people who are acting out violently, leaving others to seek an antidote to that division.
We, the New Zealand Police, will do everything we can to support our wider community and, in particular, our Muslim communities.
There were echoes of that around the world, from Vatican City to India and throughout Canada, from Burnaby to this mosque near Montreal.
He was killed with his wife.
Faisal Alahi Ashaq Ahmed's former teacher was among those killed in Christchurch. Amid his own mourning now is fear.
Nazism, fascism is coming back again, and this is very alarming. And what happened to Quebec 2 years ago, this Alexander Bissonnette, then it happened today, trying to provoke others. That's why he did the live video just to encourage others to do the same things.
In Toronto, it had another effect, prompting non-Muslims to leave flowers for their Muslim neighbors. In New Zealand, it was candles on the beach, flowers outside a family store for one of the dead, and hearts in the window, a pushback against the attackers' call for hate. David Common, CBC News, Toronto.
This weekend, Muslims around the world flooded social media with pictures and memories of their mosques, places for community gatherings and solemn prayers. One hashtag that garnered a lot of response, hashtag peaceful mosques. It started as a response to media reports characterizing the mosques that were attacked as peaceful. Quote, as if most aren't, wrote the man behind the hashtag. He urged Muslims to share their mundane mosque stories. Here's Rami Ismail on how it took off.
It's been really lovely seeing the response. A lot of the stories, reflect my experiences as a child growing up. There were a lot of tweets shared about cats, about children, about trying to be nice to each other. It also makes me extraordinarily sad, obviously, to think that people that were killed during this act of terrorism were just doing that. They were just being peaceful. They were praying. I hope that there will never be a shooting like this again. But I'm afraid that part of me wasn't even surprised that something like this happened. And part of me is not naive enough to think that it won't happen again. I just hope that if it happens again, that people realize that words have power. Mosques are peaceful, and that's how things are. Muslims are peaceful. That's how things are.
We'll stay in Christchurch for our moment next, but first, New Zealand is the first country in the world to see the sunrise. And so on Sunday, on a mountaintop in Auckland, an artist sang his own version of the national anthem as a tribute.
From the shafts of strife and war, make her praises heard afar. God defend New Zealand, oh you who pegged the mountains and seas, cut its glaciers.
Sunday morning in Christchurch, there were powerful gestures for the victims of the mosque attacks. A Maori group performed the ceremonial Haka, which is supposed to display pride and strength and, crucially, unity. And that is our moment of the day.
Much love to everybody here today. And everybody else in Christchurch. Kia kaha Christchurch.
You know, I don't know if you've ever heard that before, but if you think about the sound of that, how completely filled with force that is, I know that the people watching were incredibly moved, and I have to say, looking at it again, what strikes me is the contrast to everything else you see. It is so quiet here in Christchurch. People keep speaking in these hushed tones, and so I think it was perceived as a really important release to have that happen.
Well, and here I am, a world away, and I get shivers when I watch that, and not just because of, as you mentioned, Adrian, the raw power on display and the symbolism of it, but because of the resilience we all know lies underneath. It is so impressive.
And there were other Hakas performed in different places across New Zealand today, all as a sign, as you said, Adrian, of unity and empowerment. And it does show that as difficult as this moment is, people are looking for those moments too. And that is the National for this Sunday, March 17th. Good night, everyone.